you could get a search campaign up immediately. You don't have to wait for anything on Google Merchant Center like you would on Shopping and Performance Max. Um, and even if you have issues that maybe on your Google Merchant Center, you're like, okay, this product's disapproved and it's taken forever to get it up. I advise you get that fixed, but so that you don't lose traffic, run a search campaign in the meanwhile, because those, as we all know, those Google Merchant Center suspensions can take months, weeks, years for it to get back on track. So for you not to lose any, searches or real estate to your competitors, run a search campaign. So take a look at our YouTube right now so you can see Ryan's new hairstyle, and go ahead and comment below and just let us know if you like it or you don't. But I think I love it, to be honest. I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Looks
You're really
great.
digging my look today, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool, 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 cool. Okay, I'm going to get straight into it then. So, intro time.
Let's do it.
Welcome to another episode of the PPC Cave with me, Ryan Fenton, and my co-host, Gene Villanos. In this episode, we're going to be carrying on the series about which Google Ads campaign should I run. And this episode is all about search campaigns for Google Ads. So we're going to deep dive into what is a search campaign, why you should run it, and we're going to go back and forth a little bit on e-commerce, about lead gen, I think, and we're going to wrap it all up at the end. Is that about right?
That is absolutely correct.
Cool. So I'm going to get straight into it and talk about what is search. Well, it's the homepage of the internet. Google.com is where most people begin their search. It's like the first page that people go to. At least I do. And I don't know about Eugene, but I don't know if you go into it first and go from there.
Yeah.
But other than if I'm looking on social, like X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, when I'm looking for a product or a service through Google, I'm going to just load up, or information, I'm going to load up google.com and I'm going to go from there. So I think it's the starting point of the internet. It's the homepage of the internet, you could see. And it is really the main place that people look for products and services and information online these days. So if you're not feeling very well, you might start diagnosing some symptoms. If you're looking where you want to go for dinner, like restaurants nearby, if you're looking for services like plumbers, dentists, tree surgeons, whatever, all starts with that google.com search, and even product based as well, because I think a lot of people are going to look for products on google.com rather than going to the shopping channel first, right? So I think people are going to be looking for, off the top of my head, I don't really know, like air fryers or something like that. You're laughing,
Yeah.
but it came to mind. I don't know why.
I thought you were going to say tree surgeons again.
Yeah, no. I got to get new niches to kind of to talk about. But yeah, I like air fryers or guitars, for example. Guitars is a good one. I think people are going to go to google.com, search for like acoustic guitar, right? And then from there, they'll go onto the shopping tab and start looking at the products. Or they'll just, I think, if I remember correctly, you get the carousel on google.com on the search results. You click on products, so you can go from that way as well. But it's the main place people start looking for products and services. What? Oh,
No, yeah.
you want to add
ahead.
something?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
You're
cool.
killing it.
Oh, thank you. Keep going. Why is it useful is what I was going to say. And it's because it's good, a search campaign and search results. It's just good to get something out the door quick. If you want to start advertising through Google Ads, if you want to get your product or your service out there, then creating a search campaign that's going to primarily run on the search results is the go-to. Get it out the door fast and get something up and running in like a day, and it's going to do a lot of things for you. You might get some leads, you might get some sales from it, but it's going to give you a lot of data as well. And it's going to tell you how the market is searching, actively searching for your products and services. You can go into Google Ads and look at the search terms report, which we'll talk about later, but you can see how people are searching on Google through their mobile phones, through their laptops, through their tablet devices, what type of keywords and searches they're typing into Google to find your products and services. That is like firsthand, like customer market research. It's like no other place can give you that. And that's what's really cool. And I've put here, many people can just run a search campaign and see long-term success. Gene, you focus a lot on e-commerce. I focus on both lead generation and e-commerce. And most of my lead generation clients are just running search campaigns, one form or another, whether it's a remarketing, whether it's just a general search, whether it's, a service like specific search campaign about what they're doing. People can see long-term results from search campaigns only. So you might think, oh, well, what about a video campaign? What about a shopping campaign? What about performance max? Those are all viable campaigns in their own right for the right business, for the right niche. But if you're just a tree surgeon or a plumber or a dentist or any type of traditional service, you can put 80% of your budget, if not 100% of your budget, into a search campaign and see long-term success. What do you think about that, Gene?
Yeah, absolutely. And me and Ryan have been doing Google Ads since it was Google Ads AdWords, and search has been the OG of all campaigns. The very first, before there was a performance packs, before there was a shopping, it was search. So a lot of, what Google Ads is today hinges upon the genesis of the creation of the campaigns, um, revolving search, and I think to add to Ryan's point, um, search can get up on, you could get a search campaign up immediately. You don't have to wait for anything on Google Merchant Center like you would on shopping and performance max. Um, and even if you have issues that maybe on your Google Merchant Center, you're like, okay, this product's disapproved and it's taken forever to get it up. I advise you get that fixed, but so that you don't lose traffic, run a search campaign in the meanwhile, because those, as we all know, those Google Merchant Center suspensions can take months, weeks, years for it to get back on track. So for you not to lose any, searches or real estate to your competitors, run a search campaign. And I don't think I've
Can I
ran a, go ahead.
can I
Go ahead.
jump in real quick?
Yeah,
Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt. I
sure.
actually have an e-commerce client who has a merchant center suspension and he is going absolutely crazy trying to figure out what went wrong. And I've took a look and I can't figure it out either. This has been going on for like 3 months, pretty much. And we're stuck because all we can really do is run a search campaign. And it's thank God that we don't have to worry about merchant center suspensions with the search campaign because it's the driving force of his conversions and sales at the moment. So I just wanted to put that out there. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you did not interrupt, but you reminded me I've had a client too in December. Something wrong with their search and or Google Merchant Center, and it's always the notification that says your website is like not up to par, basically, which is like a
Yeah.
hodgepodge of multiple things, and they maybe like 10 different bullet points, and you go through all of them and it still is suspended despite of you asking for a review on Google Merchant Center. And those reviews, you could do it too many times and then they extend the window for the next time that you can ask for a review. So yes, and even right now I have one like that. So even Ryan reminded me, but we're still getting conversions because we are still trying to figure out what's going on with Merchant Center. We are still getting conversions. We are still on Google Ads with a search campaign. And I think search campaigns are one of the best ways to verbally or just through text convey a lot of what your business is, what it offers, and a lot of the unique selling points of a business. So I was saying earlier, I don't recommend running a campaign without at least a search campaign in it. Just for me and in my experience, search has always been a part of a shopping campaign, a part of a PMAX campaign. As we know, PMAX and search really go great together. So I can talk a little bit about e-commerce, but first I want to let everyone know the magnitude of why we chose search as the very first I guess in-depth campaign type that we're going to talk about in our series, which Google Ads campaigns should I run? And for e-commerce, as the theme goes, and I'm sure lead gen is the same way, really focusing on your best sellers. And in e-commerce, for me, a granular product page. If you have one product or a collection of products that are pretty much similarly themed, I think that's a great place to start for search, especially if you're doing e-commerce, because the majority of e-commerce will have a particular, brand or SKU or manufacturer part number, and making sure that the search keywords and the final URLs, your display path, headlines, description mirror that particular MPN, SKU, or even brand is really important, because without that, there's not really that unification, and you're going to confuse Google Ads. But if you make sure that it's one theme and one focus in your best sellers, that really, really goes a long way. Also, before I move on, to themes, search keywords, I like to keep it really, really small, usually between 5 or 15. If someone says there's a cutoff of should only do this amount of keywords, or above 20 keywords, they haven't done Google Ads for too long. We're just giving a parameter of a range, but it's really up to you. But I like to start small, between 5 and 15 of these keywords, and a lot of these keywords are going to have the brand in it, in the SKU, the manufacturer part number, and if there's enough traffic, you're good to go. For example, if you have a particular product out there that has a unique SKU, the Ryan Fenton LGBK1345. LGBK1345.
Nobody's buying that.
I was okay. I'm not gonna mention where I was going, but LGBK3145. If you create that as a search keyword, have that as your final URL. Your basically your landing page, your display path says that, your headline and descriptions, all these things say that. Google's has no choice to give you a high quality score. And with a high quality score, you'll pay less with your cost per click, and you'll be in the rotation of the competitive above fold searches with the absolute top, and you're going to be right there in the mix. The only other thing that you're going to need is make sure that you have adequate budget and consistency of running this particular search campaign. So I think for e-commerce specifically, making sure that you get granular with the particular brand, SKU, manufacturer part number, specific, that's where you start when it comes to search, a search campaign through e-commerce. What about you, Ryan? There's a lot of points, so I want to be able to give you entrance to speak
I
also.
disagree with what you were saying there. For me, when I run a search campaign, I'm looking at more 20 to 30 keywords per ad group. So we're not too far off. You said 5 to 15, I'm saying 20 to 30, so it's kind of like double, I guess, what you would be running. But that's because I think any more than 30 and you start to lose sight of the overall theme of the ad group that you're running. You want to keep things tightly themed to an ad group. So that could be, the service offering or a certain product range or category, for example. If it's men's shirts, you want to make sure that you're covering all bases with the keywords that you're bidding on, like Gene said about brand and things like that. But if you have 60 or 70 or 80 keywords just in the men's shirts ad group, you're going to be losing sight, and Google's not going to be able to go through all the keywords in all the different ad groups and test to see which keywords are most profitable for you. You're stretching the budget really thin, right? Whereas if you have anywhere in the region of, say, 15 to 30 keywords in the ad group, you're keeping it really tightly themed, and Google has enough budget to go through all the different ad groups with all the different keywords in to test frequently which are your best performing keywords and not lose sight of the overall theme of the ad group. So that's my 2 cents I was going to throw in.
Yeah, and for specifically e-commerce, if I've narrowed down my best sellers, there's only so many other variations that I could put as a keyword. Then I'm starting to create keywords just to create keywords. But the gist of it is, if you can get a particular SKU or MPN in there, or a descriptive, longer tail keyword, and just have that as either phrase and exact and broad, or, a combination of the three, I think that really tightens up what you consider as bestsellers. Because if you were to have 60 bestsellers, you might need to look again, or like a 30 bestseller. Usually it's under 10,
Yeah.
and so that definitely, is between me and Ryan, that's kind of what we do. We make sure that if it's best sellers or best packages, that you really make sure that it's themed correctly and categorized correctly within the ad groups that create for search. And I think that gives a little bit of a easier way to test and understand, okay, this ad group versus another ad group in search, which one is actually performing more. But if you don't have those themes locked down, and they all kind of look similar, they begin to kind of like blur together, and then you're not really finding any useful information at that point. So yeah, definitely understanding, make sure that is a particular theme. For instance, I'm in the water filtration niche, and a lot of water filtration, packages or products have a particular SKU or model part number. So I don't have to go broad. I don't have to look up or use search keywords that just has the brand and then filter. It's a particular SKU, so you can get super granular with that and make sure that those themes really reflect the best sellers. Um, as for site links and assets, of course, this is kind of similar to lead gen, and Ryan will speak on this a little bit later. Make sure you fill out as many asset types as possible. That's kind of a theme in Google Ads in general. If there's a spot that you could input an asset, if it be a promo or your images, make sure you max them out. Even when we're talking about other campaign types like performance max, I see, oh, you have 20 images and then people are only putting in 3. I know there's sometimes where you don't have that many images, but as much as you can, fill out all the assets and the site links. And also for me, and this is where me and Ryan might disagree, and he could chime in after. When we move on to bid strategy for e-commerce, if I'm tight with, whatever I said earlier, the Ryan Fenton LGBK13, well, why would I not want max clicks on that? If I have 3 products, I have the LGBTK13, 4, 5, and 6, and then I have those in e-commerce. Maybe I have them as phrase, and then maybe I have them as exact, maybe even have them as broad. If I understand what I'm getting and I understand the theme and I understand that these are best sellers and I'm on top of negative keywords, why not run max clicks? That's kind of, for me, I'm going to get the information faster. I know what I'm selling. I know the keywords that I have in there because it's, like I said, 5 to 15. I'm not, putting more irrelevant keywords in there. Why not get as much possible, many clicks as possible through max clicks with no cap? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me. I disagree.
That's fine.
Because I think if you're on top of the search terms report, then that's okay. The problem I have with maximize clicks is the clue is in the name. It's going to maximize how many clicks you can get for your daily budget. Not all clicks, not all searches are created equal. Maximize clicks is going to get you clicks on searches that are the cheapest because it's going to maximize the number of clicks you can get. So it's going to inflate the numbers. And the way that it does that is by showing and bidding on and showing up for low quality, cheap searches, basically. So informational based searches, how to do this or where can I do this? Are these, reviews, things like that. Really, really low quality, like high funnel type of keywords that aren't really conversion based. There's no real transactional intent. It's just informational based. So that's what maximize clicks does from what I've seen is that it inflates the numbers. If you've got a $50 a day budget or a £50 a day budget, and you've got maximized clicks, you can get loads and loads of clicks for your daily budget. That's great. But how much of it is going to be quality? Okay. Whereas if you go something like maximize conversions as a bidding strategy, it's going to be a lot more intent based search traffic coming through because it's going to maximize the number of conversions you can get for your daily budget. So, of course, the searches that are going to come through, Google's going to bid on higher quality, more relevant, and more transactional based keywords and searches that are in a better position to convert, essentially. However, the one caveat to that is, Gene, you said that you're on top of the search terms report. Maximize clicks can be a really good bidding strategy if you have an account manager like Gene or I inside the account on top of the search terms report every, say, 7 to 14 days, going through adding negative keywords to low quality, irrelevant searches to ensure that 100% of the budget is going to, keywords that or searches that look like they're going to convert, really. So that's all I wanted to say on that. Do you think
Yeah, and
that's fair?
no, I think that's fair, and you brought up maximize conversions. Personally use maximize conversion value. And this, so for me, I'm looking at this more so if I have no data, I have no signals at all in the account. This might be the very first campaign that I run. I'm an impatient guy, and maybe I need to be more patient. But yeah, for me, I totally agree. There is a downside and upside to max clicks, but that's why you need PPC managers like me and Ryan that could understand, okay, maybe max clicks isn't the type of bid strategy for this particular campaign, or maybe we need to do things a little bit differently with the cadence of how many times I look at the campaign or the account if I'm using max clicks. I don't suggest, if you're using max clicks or not even a manual bid strategy, or even like conversion value, if you're using max clicks, you have to be in the count. For me, several, maybe like once or two times a day, until we can kind of begin to scope queries that we like, get the negative keywords that we don't want in our account. And not just negative keywords where you go in there, find a search term, create an exact match negative keyword. No, you need to, if that's something that's a disqualifying search term, don't be lazy, guys. Get in there. If it says Amazon and then Amazon dog leash, and you're not on Amazon, and you make that an exact negative keyword, make sure, if you're not trying to have Amazon in your search terms, go in there also, make that word Amazon as a phrase match negative keyword, or even a broad match negative keyword for Amazon. Make sure that you're doing these things, and that's mitigating the risk of what max clicks can do to your account, which really can blow up your budget. But for me, I'm in the account like that, and I'm really making sure that I'm monitoring it. So, I would probably still use max clicks, not gonna lie. But there are different ways to, I guess, skin a cat. And what really it boils down to is max clicks is not the end game for me. I would not tell a client that I've had, or I would not use max clicks for e-commerce. If I have other options, if I have conversions coming in, I'm probably going to upgrade that to conversion value, and then upgrade that to target ROAS, as the first stepping stone for me would be max clicks, just to be clear. Moving on to headlines and descriptions. And this is kind of when you get into the head of the searcher, or the person looking up your service or your e-commerce website. You really have to proactively answer objections. And what are the objections of someone that's not, or on the fence of purchasing when it comes to e-commerce? In my opinion, that's something that we've discussed many times. Speed of service or delivery. Are you price competitive? Do you have any little bonus or discounts? I know, even if you don't have any, I always tell clients this: if you have wiggle room to increase the price and still create a discount, there is still that psychology there that seems like I'm getting a good deal, or that seems like I'm, getting something that I shouldn't be getting. So if you create that type of favorability with a customer that's looking at your website through a promo code or a discount, they're probably more inclined to purchase, or at least look at your offering and check it out. And also making sure that you're credible. A lot of the unique search, or the unique selling points of a search campaign could be: are you an authorized dealer? Are you a licensed dealer? Do you have some type of warranty? Do you have some type of hassle-free return process that you could put in the headlines or descriptions? A lot of those things people want to see in e-commerce. I always tell e-commerce clients this: if for me, the way that the user experience should be is, on the homepage, always put your returns on there, as a link. And some people might disagree, or put on the footer, this and that. But for me, I'm here to over communicate that even if you hate my product, you have a way to get out of this. you're not just screwed. So I think putting these things to create credibility, like your return policy, your warranty, are you authorized, is super, super important, especially if you're in e-commerce. Any thoughts on that, Ryan?
No, no. I think what you're saying is spot on, and I agree. I think on the homepage of the website, having your shipping policy, your returns, privacy policy, T's and C's, all super relevant. That's a whole another episode, I think, in
Yeah.
terms of creating a sales page and product page and e-commerce. But I think the main thing in terms of, and I'll get onto this when we talk about lead generation, but I would say that for e-commerce, it's a little bit easier because you guys can say things like, free delivery and fast shipping or same day shipping or whatever
Yeah.
it is. And, different product ranges and sizes and all the good stuff, colors, variants, and things like that. Whereas obviously for lead generation, you have to be a little bit more. I mean, there's still USPs that you can talk about and things like that, but I think I find it naturally easier to write ad copy for e-commerce than I do lead generation sometimes because already you can think of five off the top of your head. Like I just said, free shipping, fast turn, same day delivery. We sell men and women's clothes. Sizes, colors, whatever. So you've got a lot you can really talk about in terms of ad copy for e-commerce.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And to add on to that, for me, I was going to ask you, Ryan, pinned or not pinned for these headlines and descriptions? What are your thoughts on that?
Good question. Studies show, and I can't remember. I've got the link somewhere, so I can always send you that if you're interested in seeing. I think I can't remember who did the study, but I've seen that study show if you pin 7 or 8 headlines into position, conversion rates I can't talk. Conversion rates increase, right? If you pin headlines into position. And it makes sense when you think about it because you're saying to Google, I want this headline in position 1, this headline in position 2, and this headline when it shows in position 3. There's more structure, there's more of a, structure towards it, and conversion rates typically increase when you pin headlines. However, when you leave them unpinned, click-through rates increase. And that makes sense because Google's using its own combination system, its AI to piece headlines together and things like that. And you're going to appeal to more people. There's going to be more impressions because you're not limiting, adding a restriction to the performance. With pin headlines, you're literally saying this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. With responsive search ads, unpinned, that's what we're talking about, responsive search ads. Unpinned, you just kind of letting Google leave it to its own devices to test constantly what is the best combination of headlines. Obviously, we used to have something called expanded text ads, which are no longer. So the way around that now is pinning headlines into position through responsive search ads. But I like to do both. Typically, what I'll do is I will go in and create a 15 because you get maximum 15 headlines to fill out, and I'll go in, I'll fill out all 15 headlines, all 4 descriptions, which is what you're allocated for a responsive search ad. 15 headlines, 4 descriptions, fill it all out. And then the second one I'll do is I'll go in and add 7 or 8 headlines and then just 2 descriptions and pin everything into position and just let it run and see what works. Sometimes the 15 headlines, 4 descriptions works better than the pin stuff. So it's all about reading the data. And, as Gene and I like to say, unless the data shows otherwise, meaning look at the data, read the data, and follow the money, follow the profitability of the data and what's working, scale up, and what's not working, reduce.
Yeah, I think I've been really I've not been pinning anymore. I used to pin a lot. I
Wow.
used to pin a lot, and it does make sense. It does make sense sometimes, especially when you're looking at the headlines as a whole and the descriptions as a whole. But I think like Ryan said, it really depends, and not only on what your I guess search terms and your search keywords are that you're embedding into the headlines and descriptions, but your comfortable level. A lot of the times I know new PPC managers are so obsessed with having the ad strength at excellent or at good, but then sometimes you'll get an average because you're pinning, right? But to me, it's really about the data. I could care less if it says excellent or average or good. My click through rate is this, my conversion value over cost is this. Let's keep rocking with a pinned ad. But for me, I've kind of learned to let Google take the wheel, and this is where me and Ryan vary. If Google sees a combination in your search ad that works well, and they have the ability to move it around because there's no pinned ad, I'm more than sure they're going to continue to serve that ad the way that it looks. So I kind of give Google that leeway to do so. But like Ryan said, there are lots of times that it does make sense to pin an ad, or pin a particular title, or a headline, just because the way that someone reads it, you have to kind of understand the semantics of how someone is reading something also, so that's why I think search ads is one of the most effective ways to, first get into Google Ads as a campaign manager, because you really are forced to understand what people are typing into Google, and how does your ad or how does your offering reflect that. Is it something that's going to resonate with them? So like a lot of things, it really depends. But moving on to negative keywords for e-commerce, there are a couple things that I don't ever keep in as a search term, and I always make them negative. One of them is if it's competitors. A lot of the times you'll hear maybe a client say, "Oh, but we can steal from our competitors if they search this particular brand and we show up on their search query." But, more often than not, I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it happens. But if you're beginning, you really have to establish your own path. You have to establish your own path, your own testing, what themes and what search ads and ad groups work for you. And to say that I'm going to try to steal competitors' traffic, I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that at all. And one of the examples that I've had, I think I've told Ryan this before, or maybe we've discussed it, is if you were to type in Google Tesla and then something else pops up like a Prius. No knock on my Prius owners out there. I'm sure that Prius is a great car, but those are not created equal. Or even for me, I'm a big Adidas guy, and brand loyalty, my whole closet is Adidas. If I if I typed in Adidas and I got Nike, I'm like, I'm not gonna click that. Your click through rate is gonna go down for sure. So that's something that I make negative for sure. Also, anything that's platform specific. I know everyone here is competing with Amazon. Usually Amazon takes the cake. You don't want to be going head to head with Amazon if you have a particular offering and they do, because more often than not, they're going to beat you in price, they're going to beat you in speed, and they're going to beat you in reviews and credibility. So I always make Amazon search terms negative. And of course, any ambiguous search terms, anything that's not relevant to the offering or to the product, obviously that's something that should be negative keywords. But a caveat is I don't create negative keywords quickly for a search campaign. Make sure that it's running, make sure that there's adequate clicks, because we all think that we understand the particular offering or understand Google Ads, but there's a crazy keyword out there that converts, and you could have made that a negative keyword and never gotten that qualified traffic or those conversions if you did that prematurely. So make sure that you have, the data to understand, okay, this has got enough clicks, no conversions, a little bit of a lower click-through rate, maybe the quality score is a little weird, then you could kind of disqualify that, make that a negative keyword. Any thoughts as we wrap up the e-commerce section, Ryan?
No, you doing other than saying Adidas.
Adidas.
Yeah, I just think you're hitting on the money right now, and I don't really have anything to say until I get to the lead generation section, because I think a lot of what you're saying is going to be somewhat translated to lead gen anyway. So I'm just going to let you're on a roll flowing, so I'm just going to be quiet and let you go.
Yeah, and that's basically it. E-commerce, as Ryan says, e-commerce and lead gen, there's a lot of similarities, and Ryan can go through the lead gen perspective of search ads.
Yeah, guys. So a lot of what Gene has just said and I just said can be translated to lead generation. So there isn't that much else I can really say that differs too much from e-commerce to lead generation. I think what e-commerce has that lead generation doesn't have is that you guys can, with e-commerce, fall back on a performance max campaign. You can fall back on a standard shopping campaign. With search, there's nowhere really to hide. You just kind of primarily run in that search campaign, and you can for lead generation run a performance max campaign. It's not like typical that you do so. It's more performance max is more geared towards e-commerce, but in certain industries for certain businesses, performance max can work well. Case in point, I have a client in a very different niche, I guess you could say. I run a search campaign for him for 3, 4, 5, 6 months and nothing. And then all of a sudden I thought, well, let's try a performance max campaign. I turned it on, we were converting left, right, and center. So it just shows you that don't write off something like performance max for a lead generation business because it can work. But for the most part, you're just focusing on running a search campaign for lead generation. And the way I like to do it is one campaign or one or two campaigns. So I'll usually have one campaign that pushes out all the services. So, if you're, for example, a plumber, a HVAC, whatever it might be, have one for, plumbers, have one for like AC repair, like furnace, heating control, that kind of good stuff. Those are your ad groups. And then the other one you could do would be, well, you could look at doing a dynamic search ads campaign, which we'll get onto in another episode. That's too much of a big topic to cover right now. But you could also do a more local focused campaign. So let's imagine you're, in Denver, Colorado, where Gene is. I hope you don't mind me saying that, Gene.
It's okay. I forgive you.
That's all right. And you can have something like plumbers in Denver, best plumbers in Denver, Colorado, right? And go more local specific with the keywords that you bid on. So that could be something. But yeah, typically one campaign, all your services as ad groups. And I like to include two. Usually, if it's in the service niche, if it's in the lead generation niche, and it's something like a plumber, it's something like HVAC client, it's something like tree surgeon, as I keep talking about, there's a couple of ad groups I always like to run, and that is a local near me ad group and an emergency ad group. And this works all the time, pretty much. And it's because when you think about it, if somebody's looking for a tree surgeon, I need some new niches, really. I'm going to have to go through and have a think. But if somebody's looking for AC repair, what are they going to search? Best AC repair near me. Find me a plumber in my area, something like that. Local plumbers, right? Or even, local plumbers, Colorado, whatever it might be. The reason why local near me works is because that's how people search. That's with the most intent. The context is there in the search term. People are literally looking for best plumbers in their area, a local plumber. There's no bones about it. That's what they're looking for. And the same thing can be applied for an emergency thing. I see a lot of good success when I run emergency ad groups, meaning 24-hour, 7 days a week pest control, or, 24-hour pest control, or, urgent pest control, or whatever it might be. There you go. I've created a new niche for you, pest control.
There you
Got that
go.
one now. Yeah, exactly. So
Good
those
one.
usually work out really well. As Gene said, fill out as many assets as possible. I'm talking images, I'm talking location. That's a big one for lead generation. Just link up your Google My Business account. It's going to pull in the address into the ad copy itself. And actually, in some cases, the reviews being pulled into the ad copy from location assets. So it's good to pull that in. So make sure you're using location, structured snippet, call out, call, all the assets that are available to you. Try and use as many as possible. Um, in terms of a bidding strategy, this is where me and Gene disagree because I would say for lead generation, start with a manual cost per click bidding strategy, manual bidding. Just set it as manual. You don't need enhanced, just purely manual. and set it to like $1 or £1 max CPC or 2 or 5, however much you're willing to pay for a click. You have to be realistic. Don't put it to a penny or a cent or 10 cents or whatever it is. You've got to be realistic. So let's start with £1. Let's start with £5, £3, $3, whatever it might be. And then just let that run for a couple of weeks, or at least until you get, say, 15 conversions within a month. Once you get in 15 conversions in a month, you can switch over to maximize conversions if you want. You're showing Google what conversions look like for you on a consistent monthly basis so that Google has a signal to say, right, I know what conversions look like for you now. I'm going to use that historical conversion data to go out and find similar profiles of people that have previously converted. And that's how maximize conversions work. It's going to look at, I think I mentioned this in the other episode, I forget, but it's going to look at A, B, and C and say, right, they're this demographic, this age range, these types of jobs, this is their browsing habits and things like that. X, Y, and Z share similar profile habits and traits to A, B, C. So in theory, X, Y, and Z or Z should convert because A, B, C are previously converted, right? So that's how Google uses maximize conversions. But typically I use manual because I have the knowledge to do so. And that's what I would probably put a little warning sign down a little bit if you don't feel comfortable managing individual keyword level bids, if you don't have the knowledge, if you don't have the time to be in the count on a regular basis managing those bids, then maybe manual isn't for you, and maybe something like maximize conversions is a better bidding strategy. Gene, do you want to pick up on anything I've said so far, or are you?
Yeah, no, I mean it that is kind of like the difference too between, e-commerce and lead gen, especially with the bid strategies. I mean, with lead gen, like Ryan said, sometimes this is all you're running for a lead gen client. So you have to make sure that you get granular with the particular search keywords and maybe have to use a lot more manual instead of automated. So yeah, I totally agree for sure.
Cool, cool, yeah. So that's what it comes down to when it's bidding strategy. But typically, when it comes to the keywords that you're bidding on, I like to ensure quality. So rather than focusing on the broad match bidding strategy, keyword strategy, I like to go phrase and exact. And typically, what I'll do is I will have, like I said before, somewhere in the region of 20 to 30 keywords per ad group. And it's a mix of, say, 15 phrase and 15 exact. And they're the same keywords, but just phrase and exact. The reason for that is because phrase and exact ensure quality is going to closely align with the keyword you're bidding on. The searches that come through the ads are going to closely align with the keyword you're bidding on. Whereas broad match is anything remotely related to the keyword you're bidding on. So you're going to see searches that, let's just say, for example, pest control services might come up for how to become a pest control operator or something like that. It might be, how much do pest control people get paid, or how to quote for pest control or something like that. Very irrelevant, low quality searches because you're bidding on broad match keywords that are anything remotely related to the keyword you're bidding on. Whereas if you're bidding on exact match, if you're bidding on phrase match, it's going to closely align with the keyword you're bidding on. So if it's pest control services, you're going to see things like best pest control services near me. You're going to find something like local pest control service, local pest control companies, contractor, things like that. A lot more intent based, a lot more high quality. That's almost qualified to a degree. And that stands a much better chance of clicking through your ads onto the website. And that stands a much better chance of converting once they do click onto your website. So that's why I like to use phrase and exact. And I'm going to pick Gene, you up on that. I mean, do you like to use phrase and exact? Do you like to use broad? Are you like all three or one or?
Yeah, so I'll use all three. I'll use
Yeah.
all three just depending, because from an e-commerce perspective, if you have a particular SKU and it's exact, sometimes that's a low volume keyword, and it just you're not getting that particular traffic on it. So I'll expand it if I have to. I'll create a more of a broad or a phrase. But yeah, this just to kind of chime in, this is the reason why we create this podcast is because there are these nuances between lead gen and e-commerce. Despite of setting up the search ads similarly, the thought process is different because the keywords that are being searched are different. You know, if if someone was searching for lead gen service like tree surgeon, it was just tree surgeon, that could mean, careers, or they want to read a book about it, but if someone is searching, uh I guess, Air Jordan 1s, Carmelos, or something like that, something very specific, then you really know what they're trying to get at, what they're trying to purchase. So I think this is, listen to Ryan, guys, as he goes on with the lead gen. And I think this is even for me, because I don't do a whole lot of lead gen. I consider myself very niche with what I do, and it's just particular e-commerce. But listen to this, because I myself am learning a lot, from what you're talking about.
Oh, thank you very much. I think this is a good episode. Actually,
Yeah,
it's might be one of the best episodes we've recorded so far because I think there's a
I
lot
think
of
so.
value in this. But
Yes.
I'm going to try and wrap it up real quick because I don't want to. I don't know what time we're on, and I don't want to keep people for too long.
We're
But
at
anyway,
yeah, we're good.
are
We're
we
good. We're
good?
good.
We're
Yeah,
good.
we're good.
Okay. Let me know when we're not good. This could go on for hours, I guess, because it's such an in-depth, big topic
Yeah.
to go through because it's the core of Google Ads. A search campaign can be applied to any business, can be applied to any niche, and you can see success. So that's why I think this is the big one. As we start to go into performance max shopping and the other campaign types, it'll be more granular and specific to different industries, to different niches and things like that. But getting back to it, I think the main one, again, we talked about ad copy a little bit, and I just kind of want to pick it up for lead generation because, something you mentioned as well, Gene, is, getting inside of the heads of people searching. And I say to everybody, and it's really true, I think ad copy is all about evoking an emotional response from someone to take action. So when somebody performs a search on Google, whatever it might be, like pest control services near me, for example, the job of the ad copy is to get someone emotionally involved in your ad copy to take action. That action is to click through to the website. It's not to convert at that stage. All you're asking people to do is click on your ad rather than a competitor or go anywhere else or even close the window. The job of the ad copy is to drive clicks. And I think a lot of people forget that. People think, oh, we're driving conversions. We're not driving conversions. All you can physically do with Google Ads and advertising is drive clicks to the website. Everything else that me and Gene talk about all the time, speed of service, reputation, offering, price, everything really comes down to the client, the business owner themselves, and what they're putting out there. All we can do is write the ad copy and bid on keywords that are most relevant to the product or the service offering, basically. So I think it's really important to remember that ad copy and what we do is all about evoking that emotional response trigger to click onto the ad on your ad, on the client's ad, whatever it might be. And then there's a few other caveats to that. Of course, you want to identify pain points. Again, Gene, you kind of picked up on this. And what I like to do is post questions in the ad copy. So it could be looking for pest control, looking for pest control, or need that rat gone or whatever it might be, need a wasp nest removing or something like that, looking for wasp nest removal, whatever it might be. And by doing that, you're identifying the pain point. You're speaking directly to the consumer, and they're saying, "Yes, I need that service right now." And without even offering and saying the answer that we do it, you imply that with that headline. Looking for pest control, it's like, yeah, we have it. Click on our ad and find out more. So I think you want to identify pain points and offer the solution. And this is what ad copy is all about. It does three things. It showcases your services and you raise pain points, but you also want to build social trust with people as well. So you want to do things like features and benefits, free quotes, get an instant quote, fast turnaround times. We'll be there in 30 minutes. And Gene, it goes back to e-commerce, like same day shipping, free delivery, features and benefits. You're driving people, you're pulling people in based on the features and benefits that you have, your USPs. And then the other thing is call to action. You don't want to just have features and benefits. You don't want to just kind of raise pain points. Some people need their hand holding. Some people need that next direction to take. So that's why I like to kind of put it black and white and say, call now, get a quote today, leave us a message or whatever it might be, because then you're giving someone the next physical action to take once they click from your ad copy onto the website. You're saying call now get in touch today, leave us a message. That's the next physical step for them to take. So even on a subconscious level, they already know what to do when they reach the website. If you're not putting that, then people might not know what to do. It's like, great website. Okay, see you later. I'm looking for something else. So you need to kind of hold people's hand a little bit and direct them to the next response. Did you want to pick up on anything I said there about headlines or?
Yeah, I love where this is going, and I love what you're building out here. I mean, just to add on, I'm sure you know, but I think every marketer, digital marketer, PPC manager that's writing copy or writing search ads specifically can benefit from the Boron letters by Gary Halbert. That's something that provides kind of what we're talking about, the outline of what this person wants to buy, being clear and concise, providing the unique USBs, and also, as Ryan just mentioned, the call to action. And so for e-commerce, it's like shop with us right now, or shop our store, or shop here, or shop with us, or even contact us for more information. So I think it's really important that there is that call to action, because I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table. It's the same reason why us and other YouTubers are like, after the video, subscribe, or like, we're giving you a call to action. What's next? If you like what we did, or you like this search ad, then contact us, or buy today, or inquire today. So definitely on point there, Ryan, for sure.
No, that's really cool. And then obviously that coupled with the assets that you're going to fill out, structured snippet, call out, call asset. It used to be called extensions. They're called assets now. It's going to make your ad appear much bigger on the search results, meaning you take up more real estate when somebody performs a search. When a user performs a search on Google, your ad is going to take up so much space, so much real estate. It's easier for someone to click through on their mobile phones, on their computers, because you're taking up so much more space than anybody else. So your ad is appearing bigger. You give him more. You give him more information about your business, your product, your service. So it's a benefit, because the more information you can provide at an early stage, the more of an informed decision the user has to make a click on your ad, right? So if you're saying, this is our phone number, this is our location, this is our, service offering, call outs, whatever, and then you're saying it with the headlines and the descriptions, your ad is appearing so big, you're giving the user all the information. It almost becomes a point of, well, I've got all the information I need. Why shouldn't I click, on this ad? Because it's speaking to me. It's exactly what I need. I know this service now, this offering. I'm going to click on and find out more because it aligns with what I'm searching for. So that's the power of ad copy. That's the power of assets. It can give the user an informed decision to click, basically, because you're giving them all the information they need at an early stage. Right. This is even before they've clicked on your website as well. So you're just qualifying that user even more. You're qualifying that click because you're basically speaking to them, giving them the solution that they're looking for, so that when they do land on the website, they're going to be in a much better position to convert because it's qualified. And then I'm going to wrap this up, actually, to be fair. But the next thing will be search terms report. And, when it comes to a search campaign, let it run, I'd say, for 14 days first. Get some data inside the account. And then what you want to do is start adding negative keywords. It is crucial to start adding negatives because you want to reduce any wasted ad spend and make sure that all your hard-earned advertising dollars or pennies or pounds are being put to the best high-quality, relevant keywords and searches that are out there. So with search term report, it's not just negatives. That is a big part of it. You want to reduce any wasted ad spend. But at the same time, you want to look for hidden opportunities that you hadn't thought of at an early stage. So it could be, let's keep with the pest control thing. It might be, like best pest control in my area. In my area might not be a keyword that you thought of, but people are starting to search for that more frequently. Well, let me add it into the account and bid on that because it's a high quality, relevant keyword search term that people are searching for. My market, my audience are searching for that phrase, that keyword. I'm going to bid on it, and I'm going to bid more aggressive to drive more traffic through that keyword. So you can find some really golden nuggets, some hidden gems, just by going through your search terms report after a couple of weeks and looking at how your market is searching. I mentioned that at the start of the show, how your market is. It's like market research. You can see firsthand what people are searching for in Google. That is the power of a search campaign. And I was going to talk about search impression share to control the manual bidding, but that is a whole different episode. It's so advanced, it's so in depth and technical. That's gonna be a different episode altogether. But the last thing I'll say, run that campaign, run that search campaign for 3 months. And then at which point you want to do a 3 month audit. You want to look at the last quarter, the last 3 months, and say, where have I been spending the money on what keywords? Is that keyword profitable? Have we spent, say, £500 and seen 10 or 15 or 20 conversions? If so, oh, great. That's an arbitrary figure. Don't hold me to that. But have you seen, like, you spent £500 on a keyword and it's driven no conversions whatsoever? Well, then you want to pause that keyword, or you want to reduce the bid or something because it's not profitable. Again, that could probably be another episode on itself about doing a 3 month audit, a quarterly audit. But I think it's important to note that every so often, once you've got a large enough data set, you can take a step back, top view, and look at what's working for me, what isn't working for me, and let's start pausing things. Let's start lowering bids. Let's start increasing bids and funnel that ad budget towards what's working. And as I always say, take it away from what isn't working. Do you have any points
Yeah,
on
I
that?
mean,
Or it's a
no,
big
no.
episode, man.
Yeah, so just listening back to this, this is all high overview things, trying to get you as much as possible to kind of understand our overall process of search. But we will definitely be getting more drilled down and granular as these episodes come out. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here, right, Ryan? We haven't even
Yeah.
gotten to a lot of things, even like the small things, and those small things and details. Like Ryan was one who kind of taught me this. Was he usually creates 4 hour blocks on ad schedule and just lets it run
Yeah.
for Monday through Friday. I In e-commerce, sometimes it works, but I'm guessing for lead gen, that's something that is could be a good pattern to look at in the future. But yeah, I don't have much to add. What about you, Ryan?
You're right. We've really touched the tip of the iceberg when it comes to a search campaign, but we're trying to give you guys as much value, as much information as possible. But there are things that we've not even touched on. Device bids, looking at mobiles, computers, tablets. Gene just mentioned ad schedule. And what he mentioned there is that I like to segment my ad schedule. I like to break it up every 4 hours. So, for example, I'll do, like, midnight till 4 a.m., 4 a.m. till 8 a.m., 12, and every 4 hours. So you've got more granular detail, and you can, really look at where you're getting the conversions and the costs and the clicks, and start moving the budget around a little bit, which is really good. And, even audiences, even locations, there's just so many things. And these are all your secondary level bidding adjustments and options that you have access to inside search campaigns and other campaigns as well. But I feel like we're going to probably have to do another episode about secondary level bidding, I think,
Yeah.
because there's just so much to unpack. But I think what we've talked about is a good mix of top level, keeping things very top level and ease of access to get into it and start running a search campaign, but also quite granular in some aspects about how, like, we set up search campaigns for e-commerce, for lead generation, like bidding strategies, keywords, headlines, things like that, ad copy. So I think we got a good mix, in this episode of what we covered.
Yeah, and wrapping it up, I do think we have a good mix, and there's a lot of stuff that we can continue to unpack. Just because Google Ads is, in our opinion, an ever-changing landscape in regards to the type of client or the type of product that you're running, or So this will continue, and we got a treat for after this podcast and YouTube video is released. Ryan was kind enough to do a walkthrough of creating a search ad campaign. So we'll be able to post that on YouTube. And a lot of the people that listen only through Spotify and Apple Podcasts, it would behoove you to get on our YouTube channel, subscribe, and take a look and see for yourself on the thought process of how Ryan creates a search ad campaign. So, but yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack here, but it all boils down to which Google Ads campaign should I run? And we've kind of done the high level overview for a search campaign for Google Ads. If there's nothing else to add, we could sign off. Ryan, where can our viewers and our listeners find you?
Yeah, you can find me at ryanfentonppc.co.uk. I'm not going to promote my Twitter or X anymore because I never really use it. You can
Yeah.
find me there at Ryan Fenton PPC, but I don't use it, so I'm just gonna from now on probably just say go to ryanfentonppc.co.uk. I'm there, and I think maybe at some point we should start sharing our Fiverr Pro profiles, and talk about that because we always say we're Fiverr Pro verified, right? And
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to kind of shout out that and drive more traffic to our because that's where all my reviews are. That's where all your reviews are. We do a lot of our business there. So people can find me on Fiverr. I think it's just at Ryan Fenton or Ryan Fenton. So
Just
take a look.
search Google Ads and then Ryan will show up at the
There
top.
you go. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at genevillanos.com. I have been, creating more value on the website. I'll actually put these videos on my videos page and our podcast on there too, so you could kind of see, the credibility that I have there, and also on TikTok, Instagram, X or Twitter, LinkedIn, just Gene Villanos. And you could also find us at the PPC Cave on TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, just email us at theppccave@gmail.com. Again, every Monday at 12 a.m. Mountain Time, we release YouTube podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we'll continue to start bringing these out weekly and providing y'all more value. And if there's nothing else, I'll talk to you guys next time.